How to get rich. I know that's why you bought this course. You're sitting here thinking, I want to be rich. How do I do it? I'm going to tell you exactly how you get rich. But you may not like what I'm going to say to you, but it's the fucking truth. There is no easy way to get rich. And I'll tell you why. The nature of money, this is once again something else I understood at a very young age. The difference between you and me is very little, except I had a head start on you. Well, you were 18 acting like a dumbass. I was 18 getting shit done. So I've had a head start. So from 18 to 28, I amassed my millions. But it's not too late for anybody. Listen, the nature of how to get rich is because the nature is very difficult because of the nature of money. Money is not something you can earn or make. People talk about making money, earning money. Money is something you must convince out of the hands of somebody else. Money belongs to someone else. You have to convince them to give it to you. That's why making money is difficult. Because if money is something you could make, it wouldn't be difficult. If money is something you could earn, it still wouldn't be that difficult. You really have to convince other people to give you the money. And that's the hard part. Because when you understand that reality, then you have to sit there and decide, okay, I have to convince this person to give me money. How do I get as much money from that person as possible? That's what you need to focus on. How do you make yourself so high value that they'll pay enough for your service, regardless of what your service is or who you are as a person? Because there's a beautiful woman out there who gives, okay, there's a service, she gives a blowjob. But even then, there's beautiful women out there who give nothing and still get given money by guys because they're high value, because they have something, they have beauty, they have something the man wants. You have to discover, what is it that I have that other people are going to want? That's the first thing. And secondly, how can I get them to give me a lot of money for it? That's the basis of it. So let's go into it in more detail. How to get rich is as follows. You need to understand. In fact, you need to get pen and fucking paper. You need to write this down. I'm going to struggle to get rich. You are absolutely going to struggle. It's going to be very, very difficult. I did on my podcast with CNQ, I told a story about when I was really at my brokest and how I ate the same meal every day for about 9 months. And I called it flavor because I had no flavor. And it was basically rice. I used to buy a 10 kilo or 20 kilo bag of rice for like $20. It was rice, it was kidney beans, because I read the back of the cans and they had the most protein for that. Because you get cans of kidney beans for like 9p, like 10 American cents back then. It's 10 cents. They had more protein than meat. I divided it all up for the value, for the money spent. I got the most possible protein from kidney beans than I did even meat. Because I'm anti-vegetarian, I don't like the idea of vegetarianism. I think it's a disconnect from reality. Humans have always eaten meat, we always will. To start pretending that's bad or wrong is something a bit wrong up here. So I'm an anti-vegetarian. I bought the cheapest possible meat because I refused to eat a meal without meat in it. But really my protein was coming from kidney beans. So I had rice, kidney beans, the cheapest possible frozen meat, and then just for greens, the cheapest thing I could buy was frozen peas. And I ate that every single day, 3 meals a day for 9 months, because it allowed me to feed myself for a month on about $90 or $100 for a month. Me and my brother, 2 full-grown men in combat training, eating 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day. We just ate piles of this flavor. It had no flavor. Ate. I said this on the CNQ podcast. And this is when, back then, the reason I had so little money is because I was spending all of my money trying different businesses. Because you are going to struggle to get rich and you are going to fail over and over and over again. All of these people say it. Ty Lopez, Grant Cardone, they all say the same thing. You have to be ready for failure, blah, blah, blah. And people go, yeah, I get it. No, you don't get it. You have to be ready to fuck up, because you're going to fuck up. Because there's no magical formula. If you try your first ever business and you make money with your first ever business, you're probably going to fuck that up anyway, because you don't have any experience with losing money. You need to fail to succeed. And I know it's fucking cringe. I hate to say the same shit everyone else says, but it's absolutely true. What I'm going to do in this part of the video is I'm going to put in a clip of something I recorded in my Hateful Tate series, telling you a story of one of my failed business attempts. So you can listen to that as well, and you can enjoy listening to me fuck up, because I fucked up plenty of times before I discovered a few things that started to work.
So whenever I'm in Slovakia or Hungary, I drink these, because the first time I came to Slovakia, I had one at a petrol station, and they're like a drink with chunks of aloe vera in it. And this must have been about 9-10 years ago. And now I've seen these a few times in corner shops and stuff. Back then, nowhere in England had drinks with aloe vera in it. So I was only like 21, 22, and obviously I was broke as a joke and I wanted to get rich. So I thought, fuck it, I'm going to import these drinks. And I'm going to sell them in England, and I'm going to be a sole supplier. And I'm going to get rich. So I found a contact in Hungary who could provide them to me for like, I don't know how much they were, 38p or something. I want to sell them for about £1. So then I started contacting all the superstores. I was watching Dragon's Den about getting distribution. I thought, this is hard. So I emailed Morrison's, emailed Waitrose. I started emailing them every day saying I had some revolutionary new health drink that was guaranteed with all these bullshit results, and I promised them 100% markup on it. So I told them they'd buy it for 50p, so I'd make 12p per bottle, and they'd sell it for £1, 100% markup. Made out like I was a real company. I'm 22. Right away, all these people. Eventually I get an email back from Tesco saying, because everyone ignores you, because everyone's trying to get their stuff into superstores, so they completely ignore you. Got an email back from Tesco saying, I'm away from my, as you know, I've now left the business, and my replacement is Mr. Chris something, is coming in to replace me. So I waited a couple of days, and I emailed Chris and said, hi Chris, we need to speak urgently. Your predecessor and I were one step away from achieving distribution, pretending I'd spoke to the previous guy who left, who never responded to me ever. So then Chris emails me like, oh, okay, you better come down then. So it was in Cheshunt, Hertfordshire, the Tesco head office. And I thought a normal job back then, so I arranged a meeting at like 5:30, finished work an hour early, walk into Tesco fucking head office in my Matalan suit with 4 or 5 bottles of this shit, which I brought in a backpack. Sat down there, let him test it all, gave him my pitch about health benefits, 100% bonus, all those bollocks. He gave me a piece of paper saying how Tesco accept distribution, saying like, it needs to come X amount of bottles per crate, X amount of crates per container, like just all this expensive distribution shit. So anyway, he said he'd get back to me. So I fucking leave there excited as fuck, call up my guy in Hungary, so I need it in this many bottles per crate, this many crates per container. I need to be able to deliver this many containers per fucking week to Tesco stores, London, all this bollocks, da-da-da-da-da-da. My man in Hungary goes, okay, I can make this happen, da-da-da, it's going to cost this much, blah, blah. So I'm waiting, Chris emails me and says, we need to talk about your drink, are you free to come in again? I was like, yeah, of course. Anyway, in the meantime, the guy from Hungary says, it's going to take me 6 months to turn around preparing your distribution. I said, oh no, it can't be 6 months. No, Tesco want it now, Tesco want it now. He goes, well, I need some money to begin doing this. It's going to cost some money, so you need to pay me some money. You want like £2,000. And I had no money. I had my month's wages, about 1,600 quid, came the next day. So I remember borrowing £500 and my month's wages and sending it to Hungary, £2,000. The day before my meeting, my big meeting with Tesco, so this guy could begin fucking pissing around with crates. Taking my last £100 to last me the month, now I'm 500 quid in debt as well. Filling up with petrol, putting on my Matalan suit, walking in there, sitting down with this Chris guy who was fat as fuck. I don't know what, of course he was in charge of choosing the food. Fat cunt. And he's literally, the meeting lasted 30 seconds. He said, I'm sorry that my predecessor gave you the impression we were going to stock your product. Personally, I find it repulsive. And that was it. That was the end of my aloe vera dream. He never emailed me back again. None of the other superstores ever emailed me. I kept emailing, we've got different flavors. Wasn't interested. Completely blanked me. Everyone blanked me. The Hungarian guy took $2,000 of my money, and I was more poor than ever. So now when I drive through the continent in my Lambo, I enjoy an aloe vera drink. Personally, I find it repulsive. I remember sitting there thinking in my head, that was unnecessarily rude. He was unnecessarily rude to me because he thought he was important. I'm the fat dude who chooses Tesco's food. Cunt. Bet he ain't got a fucking Lambo. I might scroll through my email and fucking find it somewhere in the depths. Send him a picture of me outside my Lambo drinking an aloe vera drink.
Surrounded by aloe vera.
Surrounded by aloe vera drink, a big booty hoe.
Absolutely, you're going to struggle to make money. So the first thing is this. When we're talking about mindset, talking about being pissed off you don't have money, talking about believing you can do it. All those things are essentially important. The reason we did the first video, in fact, if you watch this entire series once, that's fine, but you need to watch the first video at least 20 times because it's the mindset that's going to allow you to get anywhere else. So imagine you're starting from zero. You've now adopted my mindset. You've now started to learn how to fight, to get your body language right. Even now, even those 2 small things makes you a higher value person. Let me tell you something. You can go into a job and they're offering $20,000 a year. Keep the numbers simple.
You have to rewire your brain. And the reason your brain needs to be rewired is because anyone who is watching this stream below the age of 30, your brain is already broken. And I'll tell you it's broken. I'll tell you why. Watch your friends when they're on TikTok. How long can they even focus on a video before they have to change? Half a second, a second.
Damn.
All of your minds are broken. You can't even focus on anything anymore.
Right.
You are constantly distracted to the point where you can't even appreciate the good things in your life. You're distracted. Your minds are broken. You need to rewire your mind and resist the slave programming. First thing you have to do is identify it. You have to identify what is happening to you. I use my mind to break the trap. What I do is I allow my enemy to manipulate me on purpose. And then I use my mind to break the trap and punish the perpetrators. I will sit on TikTok for a day. I'll just enjoy TikTok. And by the end of the day, I'll watch myself. How quickly I'm looking to be entertained, how little time I give a video, how fucked up I am. And then I'll blink and I'll cure my fucking brain. You must allow yourself to be manipulated and you must fix it. All of it. You just talked about not appreciating the things you have. Then blink and cure your brain. It's a conscious decision. The Matrix is trying to control your mind. They're very good at it. That's what they do to control all of us. You have to break the trap. If you cannot control your own mind, then you are just a feather in the wind of life. Because your own mind is the only thing you can control. You can't control the weather. You can't control other people. You can't even control whether your heart stops beating. You might have a heart attack tomorrow. You can't control anything besides what you think. If you cannot control your own mind, then you go through life with zero control, zero influence. You can't control anything. You're just a feather in the wind, waiting for life to blow you from happy place to sad place to happy place to sad place, completely hoping on the gods to be fortunate to you, because if any genuine discomfort comes your way, you're fucked. It is trained like everything else in life. If you find yourself unable to focus or concentrate on tasks, you must blink and cure your brain. If you find yourself unable to go and dedicate yourself to something you don't want to do, you must blink and cure your brain. Because all of our minds have been under constant assault for years. The way the mind functions, the way people interact, has changed so significantly in the last 10 years you wouldn't believe. If you go to a party today as opposed to a party 10 years ago, they look completely different. People are acting differently. People are on their phones now than ever used to be. Even now, people will go to places only to get an Instagram picture, even if they don't enjoy the place. It's all about pretending they're having fun as opposed to actually having fun. The entire paradigm of society and how we interact has now changed. Every single thing in the world is attempting to influence you. I'll give you another paradigm that people need to understand. I ask people have these beliefs. Doesn't matter what their belief is. Doesn't matter, they believe in something. I say, where did you get that belief from? And they don't know. Oh, well, it's just how it's supposed to be. We're just supposed to wear a mask, whatever it is, right? Where did you get that belief? Who told you that? And does that person have your best interests at heart? Think about it. Think about all the things you truly believe. Think where you learned it, and think if that person actually gives a fuck about it. Most people are out here believing things and repeating things that were told to them by people who don't even fucking like them. By their enemies. Because the only thing you should be learning from is personal experience from people who genuinely care about you and love you. Everyone's mind is fundamentally fucked. All of it. Look at me. I'm a guy who decided to conquer social media. I blinked, I cured my brain, I used basic indefatigability, I used perspicacity, I used compendiousness, I used my mind, and I focused, and I fucking conquered the world in a few short months. It's not difficult, there's just no competition, because everybody's fucking distracted. They're getting distracted by this, distracted by that, watching fucking Netflix, jerking off to Pornhub like fucking jackasses. It's so easy to win. You can control your own mind. But it seems that nobody fucking can. And that's how the people who run the world keep the world running. Because they have all the slaves exactly where they need them to be. Permanently distracted and semi-depressed. Working their asses off in jobs which will never satisfy them and never pay enough money. That's the Matrix. Most people are so deep inside of their programming. Most people are so hopelessly dependent on the system they will die and fight to defend it. Most people will sit here and pretend that the world they live in is just and fair because they are fucking slaves. Schools are designed to make you a slave. You're set up for slavery. Whole thing's a fucking scam. The education system's a scam. The judicial system's a scam. The medical system's a scam. The law doesn't mean a thing. Your rights don't mean a thing. Look at these last few years. You're living in Canada. You don't learn that everything's a fucking scam? All of it. The only hope you have is to cure your brain, see the attacks which are coming from the Matrix, control your mind, and then learn how to escape.
I get people all the time who are like, they're saying, well, nobody believes in me. No, everybody says I'm stupid. Nobody says, I'm like, dude, good motherfucker. Remember all that shit, write it the fuck down and get to work. Like, you don't realize how big of a blessing that is. And because people now like to be the moral police and tell you how the fuck you should be motivated or not, you know, some people, they feel like they're doing something wrong by tapping into me. When in reality, dude, I almost feel like if you're not able to tap into that, shit's gonna eat you up. You know, because dude, it does hurt, right? Like when you say the stories people make up without ever dude, I can relate to that. Like I have so many people that have preconceived fucking bullshit stories about who they think I am because I curse or I say something or I'm aggressive on the podcast or this or that. And they build this whole story and I hear, and then I see it and I'm like, that is nothing like me, but fuck you for thinking it, you know?
Yeah.
Let me take that note.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'll put that in my bank. Do you think that you getting second that first time is what, it was almost like a validation thing where it made you believe in yourself? Like, wait a minute. Because like you said, well, maybe I only got second because these dudes got heat stroke.
Yeah.
Like, and then you're like, wait a minute, I'm far better at this than what I really think I am.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Dude, I can relate to that 1,000,000%, even in business. Like, it took me a long time. I would say even in the last 2 years is probably when it happened for me, where I'm like, wait, we're here, but I've totally undersold myself. We should be fucking there.
Right.
And I can relate to that 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
And then once that kicks in, you're like, wait a minute, I've been fucking half-assed. You have to get your face smashed in,
Yeah.
Figuratively or literally, for you to realize what you're leaving on the table.
Absolutely.
And you know, you guys out there listening, when you hear her speak, you know, and what she's talking about, you know, this is the best in the world that you're hearing from. This getting smashed in the fucking mouth is a good thing.
It's part of the process for everyone.
It's a great thing. Like, dude, it's just when you let it, you know, become something that it isn't. Because really all it is, dude, is it's a check. It says, okay, dude, you didn't work hard enough. You didn't do this. You left this. Because and most people can't, there's a stigma around losing that I think is counterproductive to people's development. You know, they think, most people believe that when they lose, it's over. I lost. Or I failed, or my business failed, or I this and that. And they never get back up so that they can learn, put the lesson that they used back into practice. So if you learn a lesson and then you don't get back on the train and learn how to not repeat that same mistake, you expanded your potential by learning the lesson, but then you never capitalized on it because you were too afraid or too embarrassed or too, you know, a million different things.
I would say usually it's your ego though, because you look at, I mean, that loss should be one of those fuck you chips. No different than somebody else giving you a fuck you chip. You kind of give yourself a fuck you chip.
Yeah.
And I think you bring a great point, you know, because a lot of entrepreneurs that listen to the show, like you're kind of in the game by yourself. So, and you know, you think about like CrossFit, it's a solo sport, but not really, right? Because you drag, just like an entrepreneur, you know, you're dragging your family through this. Mm-hmm. You're dragging your wife, your husband, your kids. And even somebody even deeper than an entrepreneur, somebody who really loves or is passionate about their career, like this is why I think, you know, you have to learn that you only get one life. You get this one fucking shot. And you got to go after and attack every single day. If you can't do it for you, do it for them.
First things first is that going through a breakup sucks. And every single man out here, no matter what they say, understands how bad it is to go through a breakup and understands what heartbreak's like. It's difficult. It's not easy. I'd actually like to argue that men feel more heartbroken than women. I think that's
facts.
I think it's true. And I think it's because one of the possessive element that we have, the idea of her being with someone else hurts more than the idea of you being with someone else to her. And secondly, because you have a lot less options than she has instantly. So I think that breakups are worse for men than they are for women. And I understand how difficult and hard they can be. However, the unfortunate reality is that chasing her and being dedicated to her and saying you're going to do whatever she wants, etc., is very unlikely to work. It's very unlikely to work, and you have to look at the scenario you're in, look at the chessboard, and make the best possible move. When you're heartbroken, when you're truly heartbroken, you can't even sleep, and your mind is constantly preoccupied. And instead of seeing that as a negative, what you need to do is use that as a source of unlimited power. If I was truly heartbroken today, let's imagine, and I could barely sleep, I'd be in better shape than I've ever been. I'd train like a fucking animal. You have to just take the energy inside of you. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be converted, whether it's heat into light or momentum into friction or however you want to put it, right? Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be converted from one form to another. And you have to look at that and understand that the sadness inside of you is energy. You can't destroy it, but you can convert it into something else which is constructive. And you just have to suck it up, buttercup, and get over it. And there's no other way to do it. And obviously having an abundance of women makes that easier. But I wouldn't even put it that way. I'd say if you were with a woman and you lost her and you're now lonely and she's going to be moving on and you're absolutely not heartbroken and you're destroyed inside, I understand how difficult that is. But now you have genuine sadness inside of you, which is unlimited motivation for you to become a fucking beast, become an animal. And by the time you're finished becoming an animal, you won't care anymore. So if you really want to cure yourself, you just say, I'm going to get a six-pack and I'm going to get bigger arms. And by the time my arms are this size and I have a six-pack, then I'm going to think about that bitch. And you'll realize you don't give a shit about her anymore. That's just the way the world is. And another thing that gives you another thing that can give you a lot of hope and understanding is that her revenge on you is instant. Her revenge on you is getting on a boat and fucking 5 guys and going out to party and you're sitting at home alone. Her revenge is instant. Your revenge takes a little bit longer. But it is a better revenge overall. It takes, like all good things in life, good things come to those who wait. Good things don't come instantly. Your revenge is going to be using that sadness, using that sorrow to become such an amazing man that she realizes she fucked up. Every single one of my exes realizes they fucked up. There's not a single person who's close to me whose life would be better if I wasn't in it. Every single one of my exes looks and goes, I wish I had top G still now. I just text my boyfriend my problems, he can't fix them. I'm sitting here on economy, Tate's on his jet. I fucked up. And so if you get to take that sadness and sorrow and truly become the man that you know you can become, then your victory comes. It's maybe a little bit delayed, but it certainly and utterly is coming, and you should be excited by that. You need to look that there will be a day where she regrets the decision she made. There will be a day where she understands that she fucked up and her life would have been better if she kept it. And I'm going to prove it to her. That's what you have to do. You have to go do it.
Yep. You have to create the regret, guys. And I think that's the problem you guys got to understand. You must create the regret.
That's right. You nailed it.
Right.
You have to go and force her. You have to force her to feel regret by the magnitude of your actions. If you sit around your ass being mopey, she ain't gonna feel regret. If you text her, you're gonna regret losing me, she ain't gonna feel regret. You have to get up and attack the universe, and through the force of your monumental achievements, the universe is gonna create a massive sadness ball, a nice big ball of regret, and dump it on her fucking head. You can do that.
Yep. You know, it's funny. Hit her with that spirit bomb, motherfucker. Make her feel. You break a weird girl, right? All of a sudden, 5 years pass. You're doing well, nice car, new apartment, maybe a better job. And she's like, her friend is like, yo, Susie, have you seen Jack? He's doing really well now. He's like, wait, show me his Instagram. Before you know it, she's like, damn, I messed up. That right there is indirect regret.
Your wife breaks your heart. If you're not going to work, you can't sleep anymore. You're upset. She's running around with a new dude. You see her Instagram story. She got some new guy. You're furious and you're angry and you're jealous and you're bitter. You have all of this inside of you, but you're not going to go to the gym and work hard and become so fantastically in shape and so rich and so powerful that no girl ever leaves you again. You're not going to do that. No. What are you going to do with it? Text her? Try and explain to her? She doesn't care. Like, you can write the most perfect English. You can write the most beautiful words ever constructed. Forget Shakespeare. You can do, it doesn't matter. She doesn't care. She just doesn't care. She's distracted. She forgot about you. She forgot about you. So what are you going to do with all of that inside of you if it's not positive? Well, it's going to consume you and you're going to end up self-destructive, or you're going to embarrass yourself, or you can take all of that and put yourself in a position where it never happens to you again. Yeah. Those are the choices. So what's the most intelligent choice to make?
Yeah.
You know, I don't understand how many humans function in the world today. I don't get people who don't think like me. I don't understand it. I'm like, well, then how have you survived this long? Life is hard. Life is difficult. Maybe I've just been unlucky, which I don't believe in, but I've had so much trauma and bad events and negativity and stress and all these things that have happened to me. And I've used all of it to be monumentally successful. People are functioning. If you're not thinking like me and you're going through life with any other mindset, you've been extremely fortunate that God smiled on you and allowed you to sit around most of the time doing jack shit, and you have yet to be punished for that. Yeah. I could never have lived that life. If I was a bit lazy or a bit, or I was a bit of a snake, or if I lied to people, I'd be dead by now. Yeah. So a lot of these people are just absolutely and utterly blessed by God that they managed to go through life with such a non-competitive mindset and they're still breathing. I don't understand how people can think any other way. Yeah. I've spoken to dudes and I had a bad couple months. Why? Oh, my girl left me. You've wasted months? You've wasted months? You had think of how much God loves you to have given you the grace and given you the opportunity to waste months of human time over some chick. Talk about blessed head to toe. If I waste months, empires are going to collapse. I'm going to end up in a cell or dead if I waste months. I have things to do every single day. I can't waste a second. These people are just absolutely infinitely blessed, and their mindset is a product of that because they're spoiled children. Absolutely spoiled children. Because there's a whole bunch of people out here daily who fail. There are men out here who fail daily and they have yet to feel the true consequence for it. They fail to go to the gym when they know they should have gone to the gym. They fail because they forgot their keys and it took them 10 minutes to find them. They fail because they replied to a question they got sent on WhatsApp the wrong way. They fail because they didn't smile when they were supposed to. They didn't say please and thank you to that person who helped them. They fail because they didn't say hi to that girl who's looking at them out the corner of their eye. They just fail perpetually. They go through life missing every opportunity and just failing. And somehow we've built a society which is so soft and God is so giving and so graceful that they still have a place to eat and somewhere to sleep, and they're still surviving. That shows how nice God is. Yeah. Because before this society, truthfully, if you were that level of failure, you would be dead. Survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest. And none of these men out here are fit. No. Their mindset isn't fit. Their reality isn't fit. They're failures. They're failures. Yeah. And they're just failing every single day. I'm like, oh, but you know what? Tomorrow I'll go to the gym. Yeah. You've been failing your whole life. That's all you've done is fail. And then you sit and wonder why people like me absolutely and utterly outcompete you. It is so easy to become a top tier male in the world today because the competition is so ridiculously low. There are 2% killers like me and everybody else amateur. Head to toe amateur. They can't even pay attention to anything. They can't try anything. They're amateurs. And it's really mind-blowing to me because I've tried with all of my computational power to imagine having a mindset different to mine. And I just can't see a reality worth having. I can't see a reality worth living. I can't see how you're going to build a life worth experiencing if you have any other mindset. I've never seen somebody massively succeed and they didn't believe in themselves, ever. I've never seen somebody who just allows life to happen to them and become blown off course by some sadness, end up doing massively monumental and important things. I've never seen it. It's never happened. It does, and it's never going to happen because it's competitor. It's like crypto. It's player versus player. Right. I can sit here right now in power. I can sit here right now and recall events that will prevent me from sleeping for 2 to 3 days. That gives me a superpower that other men do not have. They want to go to sleep. They're tired. I can stop being tired for days at a time. I can just have a thought. I can remember. I can sit, close my eyes, and use the power of my brain to vividly remember events, and I will not sleep for days. And when people come to me and say, oh, this happened, I'm really sad, or my heart broke, or this bad thing happened to me, I say, good. Thank the Lord that he's given you this endless source of motivation. You're wasting it. That's your problem. But it's been given to you. Nitrous oxide has been given to you. You just have to use it in the correct way. So I'm the luckiest man in the world because all the bad things that happened to me have given me all the building blocks to become the most fantastic man on the face of the planet. The reason anyone is broke in the Western world today is because they are one of three things. They are either lazy, they are arrogant, or they are stupid. And if you're broke, you are one of those three things. I don't care what excuse you try and fucking give me. You're gonna have to choose which one you are. Because if you're none of those three things, it's impossible to remain poor in the modern world, in the West. There is so much money. I'm gonna rub it in for all the brokies quickly. There is so much fucking money in the world. I want you to, when you drive down a street, Go to London, drive down a street. Every building's worth what? 20 million, 50 million, 100 million. Someone owns all this shit, right? That hotel's $1 billion hotel. That fucking restaurant's worth 15 million. You can take a taxi ride and drive past £1 trillion fucking pounds. Who owns all that shit? People own all of this, right? There's so much money in the world. During COVID, when everyone was complaining that they went broke, I made so much fucking money. You would not believe the amount of money I made. The amount of money that's traveling around and floating around the planet is ridiculous. We're talking about inflation being out of control. It's because they're printing trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. It has to go somewhere. Now, they try their very best to keep it amongst the elites, and they do that. But if you're anywhere near the elite, you get money, right? If there's a rainstorm, all you have to do is walk outside and you get wet. The difference between me and everyone else is I know where the door is to walk outside. Everyone else is just fucking floundering around in a room, looking on the floor for pennies like a jackass, right? There's so much money. It's so easy to make money in the world today. It truly is. And the reason if you're poor and you're remaining poor is because you're either lazy, arrogant, or stupid. So we'll talk about those three things. The first thing is lazy, which I've already discussed. I believe 99.9% of the people I've interacted with in my life are lazy. And when I say lazy, I mean it in the genuine term of the word. They're lazy. They think that they come up with bullshit like work-life balance and, well, there's no point working if you don't enjoy yourself and all this other fucking shit. And they remain lazy. And the problem is that the world we live in is player versus player. If you go play Call of Duty, right? It's PvP. You want to live, you got to kill that guy.
Yep.
He's some fucking 14-year-old in Singapore. He might he loses one more game. Don't care. Sniped. Boom. See ya. Had a nice life. Tangent. You're gone. That's how it works. Player versus player.
This is the most knowledge I've ever heard being dropped on this podcast, man. It's fucking nuts. I'm going to walk away from this fucking thing and be sat there in Uber on the way home.
Got sniped and
I'm not going to
it's a harsh reality.
Tangent in Singapore is done.
He's finished.
So, but it's player versus player, right?
Yeah.
Now, I would like to believe in a world where you don't have to wake up and think about the money. Where you don't have to wake up and think about the bag. You don't have to wake up and think, how do I get paid? Where instead you could wake up and think, I want to enjoy my time. I want to spend time with my family, et cetera, et cetera. But the problem is it's player versus player. There are people like me. There are sharks in the ocean. If you want to stay a fish, you're going to fucking lose. There are people like me who wake up and think, fuck it. I want more. Don't give a shit. I already have everything I could ever think of. I already have enough money to buy everything I could ever dream of. I can't even think of anything on the planet I want. Don't care. I want more so I can take it from others. There are people like me that exist, and you have to compete against people like me. It's player versus player. So when I say lazy, my entire life is work. And when I say that, people think that's depressing. No, it's not. It's not depressing. I love it. Every single thing I do is work. When I go to the gym, it's so I'm in fantastic shape, so I can call everyone a brokey, and they don't want to come up to me on the street because I know I'll fuck them up. Work. When I come here and do a podcast and have a nice conversation with you gentlemen, work. I'm making money in between, work. When I'm it's work. So that when me and her go to the club, she behaves herself with all the other girlfriends around because she knows Big D. You understand? It's all work. Life is work. Existence is work. If I'm awake, I'm working. Every single thing I do is conscious. It's all done on purpose. Now, we're going to finish this podcast. I don't know what you guys are going to do afterwards, but you could certainly film 10 podcasts in a row if you wanted to, but you won't because you're fucking lazy. That is the truth. You can be the biggest podcast in the world. You refuse because you want to.
We're on that way.
No,
we're on that way.
Go home. You're not allowed to go home. Only work.
No.
There's nothing else. You have to outcompete everybody.
It's smart work.
No.
That's the work.
No. We're going to get onto smart work in a second, my friend. Now, smart work.
10 podcasts in a row is a waste of fucking time. No, it's not even not doable. It's just not. It just putting out 10 fucking podcasts is stupid.
You think I won't film 10 podcasts in a fucking row?
That's an L. If you film 10, that's an L for you. Because
no, it's not.
Because how are you going to talk about recent?
Matter. You can delay them. It doesn't matter.
But the content you talk about won't be relevant in 10 weeks' time when you put it out.
But you can talk about evergreen subjects, about the fact that the Matrix is here to enslave us all.
Nobody, no, not about that. But no one can. What I'm saying is they want to hear about the latest and the greatest.
I understand.
We have to talk about that.
My point, the point I'm trying to make is smart work or intelligent work is something that most people use to hide and disguise their laziness. And I'll tell you why. Because if you're not a lazy individual, the first thing you do is you dedicate your entire life to work. Like I just said, every bitch I fuck is work. Every gym session I go to is work. Every car I drive is work. I'll film it. I'll use it, whatever it is. Every single thing I do inside of my existence is work. Once I've used all of my human time, every single waking second of every single day, and I now have a pile of work I can no longer complete, then I look to streamline. Then I go, okay, I've been awake for 17 hours and my work isn't finished. I need to find a more efficient way to get my work done. That's when you start being smart and efficient. But until all of your time is used, smart and efficient is a disguise for laziness. It's bollocks, right? Fuck that off. You don't need to be smart or efficient. You need to fucking work. I have people inside of Hustles University. You just said I conquered TikTok, right? There's a guy inside of Hustles University who is 16 and he's making 45,000 pounds a month. Do you know why? Because he takes my old interviews, he makes TikToks and he puts them on TikTok. He does 300 TikToks a day. He just fucking works. Doesn't think, doesn't try and be smart, doesn't try and be efficient, doesn't try and change the world. He sits his ass there on his phone and fucking works. And now he's making 45 grand a month.
That's why I'm starting my Tate TikTok tonight. And I'm 100%. And I've got my name. I've got my name.
You ain't even made a fella's TikTok
100%, 100%.
What the fuck are you doing right now?
I'm going with Pastor Tate.
Don't make him the fucking money. Make us the fucking money.
No, listen. My affiliate link is going in my bio. Guys, make sure Pastor Tate. That's me right now, tonight.
So,
but this is the point. So most people are lazy. And when I say this, I understand work-life balance. I understand some people want to rest, blah, blah. I get that shit. But there are people like me who are born to work. We're born to conquer, and you have to compete against us, and you're going to lose. You're going to lose because we have networks. We have people who work for me. I have 1,000 people who work for me, and all I do is work, and all they do is work. All we do is fucking work. How are you going to beat me on TikTok? You can't beat me. I'm here, and I've conquered the fucking platform. It's mine. That's because I'm a workhorse. So most people are lazy. So if you're going to sit there and you're going to look at me and you're looking at my 27 supercars and go, I'd really like that. If you'd really like that, you need to understand that every waking second you need to be working. And I'm going to handle every excuse because I want to answer this question compendiously.
Fantastic vocabulary right there.
Concisely. Because most people who come to me and say, oh, I'd love to be rich. No, you wouldn't. Because if you'd love to be rich, you'd be working. Now the people will say, well, I don't know what to work on. That's another lie. And the reason that's a lie is because there's always more work to do. Now, how much you care about something is directly correlated to how much work you find to do. If you truly love a coin, you can polish it forever, right? You can find work to do. If you sit there and go, oh, my work's done, then you haven't tried to find work. You can always find work. I don't give a shit if you're a carpenter. I'm a carpenter and I finished my work. Then go drop leaflets about carpentry. Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to stay home. Then you don't want to be rich. There you go. There's your fucking answer. So you can find work to do in any sphere. You're saying we can't do 10 podcasts in a row. Perhaps you're right. Let's assume you're right. Let's assume you can only do one podcast.
Yeah.
I guarantee if I was in charge, you guys would be fucked. If I was in charge of this business, let's say I was in charge of the Fellas podcast, you would not be going home till at least 9 p.m. and I would find shit fucking do.
Okay, but Andrew,
you would be doing something.
In fairness,
there would be work to do.
In fairness, when we finish this podcast, the end of the work is not done. We'll go home and then we'll work on our own channels.
Our own stuff.
So when I'm done here, Andrew, when I go,
see you at the top.
No, 165th floor, my friend.
165th floor.
I'll see you there.
And I'm not talking about you guys personally in a disrespectful way. I'm just trying to highlight the fact that there's always more work to do. There's no such thing as finished.
I want to be disrespected today. I want you to tell me.
That's like some
Andrew, no, seriously.
No one's degrading.
I'll tell you.
Compared to the general public, they will look at me and go, Chip's rich. But then I look at you, Andrew, and I go, that's rich. Yeah, and I want you to tell me why I'm not where you're at.
I'm telling you.
That's what I need.
Good.
I want to hear that.
And I'm telling you.
I want to be on that fucking yacht.
All right, I'll tell you. Yeah, good. Yeah,
I want to be there.
Good.
So tell me everything.
Good. Right.
I need to know.
Good. And this is the thing. So you have to find more work to do. Now, if you truly can't find more work to do, I don't believe that's a thing. I believe that's just an excuse for laziness, right? You can always find some more work to do. You guys could go back to a podcast you made a year ago. And you could go and you could make a highlight show of all the times that you said, I don't know, fuck or drink or whatever. Yeah. And you could make a highlight video. You could make a 10-second video of all the times you said it. You could put some music on it. Boom, boom, TikTok. You could always find work to do. There's no such thing as no work.
That's your next
job. There's no such thing as no work. No such thing. So most people are lazy, right? The second thing that people suffer from is arrogance. And the reason people are arrogant is because every single individual, especially men, we're born with we have an ego, right? And I think the ego is a very important thing. If you read any of the modern bullshit that is pumped out by the Matrix, they say, you must get rid of your ego. You must remove your ego. But I disagree with that absolutely. That's the Matrix trying to program us all to be slaves. If someone has an ego, they are full of pride. And if you're full of pride, you do a good job. If you are proud of yourself, if you're proud of your body, you're gonna have a good body. If you're proud of your work, you're gonna do good work. If you're proud of the things you say, you're going to make sure the things you say are intellectual and well thought through, right? So they try and tell you to have no ego, to remove your pride so that you'll accept the programming from the Matrix. They want to make sure that you're an empty vessel. They can just insert their programming. So you need to have an ego. And the ego can either be your best friend or your enemy. An ego you work hard to justify is a superpower. An ego that you have without justification is here to hinder you. So I'll give you an example of me, right? I've always had an ego, but I realized that I was full of shit having an ego if I wasn't actually a capable fighter who was rich as fuck with a dangerous world-class network. I realized that having an ego without those things was just bollocks. So I had 87 professional fights and I made $100 million. And I built the War Room and got one of the most powerful networks on the planet. And now I get to have my ego justified, and I get to sit here on podcasts and talk with confidence because I've justified my ego. I knew what I wanted to be, and I justified it, right? If you have an ego and go, well, I don't have those things, but I don't need those things, then you're fucked, right? So most people are arrogant. I will sit here and tell the world on this podcast that I have a school called Hustlers University that teaches people how to make money online with 18 modern wealth creation methods. It's $49 a month. And there are people who still won't join. Oh, he's full of shit. I have a jet and a boat, 27 supercars.
Not
15
you.
I know people who
Shell
have
company.
Yes.
Shell company.
15 mansions, etc. And they're going to sit there, listen to all of the things we've said and go, maybe he's lying. Because they are arrogant idiots. They're idiots, right? If Mike Tyson teaches you comes and says, I'm going to show you how to throw a punch. Do you sit there and go, well, you know what, Mike? It's not bad, but I wouldn't do it that way. Or would you sit and go, okay, Mike Tyson, right? So I've always been a very good student. Everything I've learned from people. Even when I was a kickboxing world champion, I became world champion because I just blindly obeyed. It wasn't a matter of, I think this. It was just turn up at the gym, do this. My coach, who was Bosnian Special Forces, who fought in the Yugoslav conflict, would say, you're doing this today. You ain't going home until I've seen 10,000 push-ups. 7 hours later, I did 10,000 push-ups. That was the game. That was it. I just obeyed, right? So most people are so arrogant, even if someone like me wastes their time trying to tell them how to escape slavery, they're too arrogant to even fucking listen. They're going to sit there and go, well, $49, maybe it's a scam. Oh, maybe I scam you out of a Nando's. Oh, no. Boo fucking who? And if you want to, because I want to extrapolate our conversation, I want to tie back to things I said previously. We talked about how education exists in a vacuum. My education doesn't exist in a vacuum. Hustlers University is in competition with every single other purchase on the planet. So I currently have 64,000 students. 64,000 people are inside of Hustlers University paying $49 a month every single month. Don't be impressed I got 64,000 people. Be impressed I retain 64,000 people. Those people are making more than they spend. So you have to understand this. My educational system, it doesn't exist in the same way that traditional educational system does. You can spend that $49 on anything you want. I'm in competition with Nando's. I'm in competition with video games. I'm in competition with fucking food, fucking Snickers, the gym, porn, whatever you want to spend your money on. And 64,000 people have decided that the best possible value they can find for their $49 is inside of my school. That shows my school works.
My question to you is, you mentioned that there were, 18 ways of like modern...
18 modern wealth creation methods, yeah, correct.
Are any of those ways methods that you've personally used?
Every single one of them are methods that I currently use.
That you currently use?
Correct. So they are taught by it's taught by myself and other War Room professors.
Yeah.
And they're all ways that I currently use. Because there's some people who already go, oh, I'll buy Bitcoin, that'll make me rich. No, what's it going to do, double? Oh, your 1,000 pounds is 2,000 pounds. Congratulations, jackass. That ain't gonna make you rich, right? So we teach 18 modern wealth creation methods, and TikTok's an example, right? TikTok is completely Hustlers University students making millions and millions of pounds every single fucking month. All they needed is a phone. Everyone has a phone and time. Do you have a phone and some time? Yes. Are you a lazy jackass? No. Okay, then you can be rich. You can have a Ferrari. What the fuck are you waiting for? And when I say arrogant, because there are people going to listen to this podcast, listen to everything I've said and go, yeah, that makes sense, but might be a scam, and not join. So most of you are either lazy or arrogant. Some people are so arrogant, you couldn't help them if you fucking tried. And the last is stupid. And this is the smallest category, right? I don't think you need to be smart to make money. I really don't think you need to be that intelligent to make money. I think less than 5% of the population is too stupid to make money. Do you know how TikTok works? Are you too stupid to upload a TikTok video? No, then you can make money. Are you too stupid to upload a YouTube video? No, then you can make money. Are you too stupid to, even if you can't do it yourself, to go on Fiverr and get someone to edit a video that you can put on your channel? Like no one's too stupid to make money. They're just too lazy and too arrogant. So that is the plague. So if you're working your 9 to 5, you need to look in the mirror. I'm gonna take off my sunglasses for this. You look in the mirror. Look yourself in the eyes. Look deep in your own eyes and work out which one you truly are. Am I fucking stupid? Well, I don't think I'm stupid. No, I'm not stupid because everything Andrew said made sense. Okay. I'm not stupid. Am I lazy? I guess a little bit. Am I arrogant? Work out which one it is and fucking fix it. Blink and cure your brain. And once you're no longer lazy or arrogant, you just have to find someone to learn from, right? You have to go, okay, I'm not lazy. I'm not arrogant. I want someone who's really willing to teach me. A lot of people on the internet were full of shit. I ain't full of shit. Congratulations.